Hello and welcome to Finance 1031 Week 8. Going to have a look at two new ratios today, sales forecasting review, some pro forma financial statements review, and then jump right into budgeting. Okay, the ratios we've covered so far, current and quick ratios, gross margin percent, net margin percentage. Managers pretty much interested in those. Return on investment, both in form of return on assets and return on equity. The investors want to know about the upside down ratio, the debt to equity, and the interest coverage and the fixed payment coverage. Of course, bankers are pretty much interested in that. Of course, money managers inside of companies are worried about that sort of thing too. I've already mentioned that I don't like paying all of my profits or interest to the bank, so those two ratios are a big concern to me. And next, we're going to have a look at average payables period. Okay, the average payables period is the amount of time it takes a company for it to pay its bills, its trade receivables usually. The formula for it is accounts payable divided by average daily credit purchases. I've seen it also as days payable outstanding, days purchases outstanding, etc. Daily credit purchases we'll get into the next slide. In a pinch, if you can't find the accounts payable number, you can use the cost of sales, but hopefully it doesn't include the labor number because you have to pay your labor immediately, not put them in a payable system. Okay, simple calculations for average daily credit purchases. Basically, if your purchases are $100,000 and you only buy 40% of them on credit, i.e. you get an invoice for them, you don't pay check or you don't pay by credit card, that means over the year you put $40,000 into a payables system of some sort. Take $40,000 divided by 365 and you get 100 days, $110 per day on credit. So that would be the denominator of your ratio. Okay, like most good ratios, it's a measure of something. This one measure of how well a company's managing its payables or how quickly they're paying their bills. Important to owners and managers, and somewhat important to bankers. They might look at that, and if the number's too high, they might be worried about their money as well. So kind of an indicator, not a key indicator to them, but just something they're aware of. Definitely important to potential suppliers. Okay. Back in the early 2000s, my salesman came to me and said, I got this company called Toys R Us, might have heard of it, wants to do a bit of business with us since I'm such a great salesman. Okay, this is great. But I had heard that Toys R Us was having financial problems, that their sales weren't going too well. So I said to the salesman, let's book the business as $2 million, which is nothing for Toys R Us, but for us it was a significant chunk of change. And I said, but we do this work, we've got to put it in the agreement, that in the contract, that we get paid in 15 days. He didn't like that much because he was afraid it would hurt his chances of getting the sale, and of course salesmen get paid on commission, but we did get it. A few days later, an investment bank took the company private, which really made me nervous because we were coming up to the busy season when a lot of shipping would happen, and we're in the shipping business. And investment banks have this nasty habit of, when they turn a company private, of selling or breaking up the company and ignoring the payables. I got it from a few financial people that this wasn't what was going to happen. The company's actually going to try and make some money on it and turn it around. So we booked the work and we kept a really close eye on it for the first 5-6 months to make sure we got paid. They did, and then I think actually the relationship exists even to this day. So just an indication of what you want to be aware of when you're looking at payables. From your company's point of view, if your payables are outstanding, you might not be able to take advantage of credit terms, and you might not be getting the best service either. Okay. In an extreme sense, they may stop sending you goodies or being your supplier, and they may say, we want our money, and we want all of it, not just the overdue stuff. We want all of it before we're going to deal with you again, and from now on it's cash only. That could be a real pain to your company. So this is one of the reasons we try and look after our payables in a timely manner. It's just good business. Okay, average collection period would basically be the flip side of the payables, and each relationship like that, you're looking, either somebody's looking at a payable or somebody's looking at a receivable. For your company, if it's a receivable, We use this ratio, also known as days sales outstanding, DSO, days receivables outstanding, all sorts of fun stuff like that. It's usually done monthly because we want to track our money quite closely that people owe us. Of course, the simple formula, accounts receivable divided by average daily credit sales. I'll get into ADCS next slide, but this is a key concept in small business. Okay, just to compute our credit sales, our average daily credit sales. If our sales are $200,000 in a year, and we let people walk away with our goodies on credit, 45% of the sales, then that means over the year our customers have put $90,000 on credit. Okay, they are receivables to you. Take a quick note, this does not include credit cards. Credit cards, when people pay us by credit cards, that's the same as cash. We'll talk about that later in the course. Okay, so they haven't given us check or money or credit card. They've left and we send them an invoice. Okay, in this case, $90,000 divided by 365 gives us $247 a year, and that, of course, is the denominator of the relationship, of the ratio. Okay, now this is a ratio, a measure of how well a company manages its receivables. Of course, the lower the better. We want our money quickly. It's important to managers and owners because it affects cash flow, somewhat to bankers, because sometimes we have to go in and borrow money because why? Our customers haven't paid us, and that's a big concern. And that sort of gets us into the situation where if our customers have our money, we have to go to the bank to borrow money just so we can pay our payables or our employees. Kind of a bad situation. If we just go collect our payables, better idea. We have a whole week on payables, by the way, later in the course. Okay, so just a quick note on this ratio again. If our collection period is 45 days, we could consider that an average because we're doing the ratio yields an average based on an average. Okay, so basically what that means is half the receivables are collected before the 45 days and half after the 45 days. Now some are going to be collected on day 40, 41, 42, 43, and then similarly around up to day 50, but you get the idea, okay? That half before and half after, since it's an average, is what we could say. Now, to drive this home, so if we send out invoices January 30th and we don't get paid on average until 45 days later, it means on average we get our money around March 15th. Wow. Quite a delay. So we get all of our money that we invoice in January. On average, we get all of our money somewhere in the month of March. Wow, that's pretty stretched out, as we call it. We need to predict our cash requirements because of this delay. And obviously, the lower that number, the lower the delay, and the less money we have to borrow. Because remember, as January is going, we're back to work. We're working through February. We're getting ready to invoice customers at the end of February, and yet we've had to pay the rent, we've had to pay all our people, so our cash reserves can get pretty strapped if we're not careful, just thanks to the management or mismanagement of our receivables.